Alright, enough is enough. If you're playing Tower Fantasy and you're playing Void Rift, if you're one of them people who asks for buffs but doesn't share your own buffs to your teammate, and then you go fight the boss alone just to get wiped on the floor, and then you just leave, taking those buffs with you? Bro, what the hell? I've encountered this kind of thing several times when playing with random people. I mean, yeah, they're random, but I already tried to communicate to them what we're doing and what we're gonna do. Which is kinda baffling that the only teammates that seems to read what I've said is freaking Japanese people! Dude, like, what the hell? Alright, that's enough venting. The point of this video is to make a PSA on what you should do in general when playing Void Rifts. This is not what loadout you need, what characters you need, no. This is basic stuff that's like common courtesy. So if you have friends who are struggling with Void Rifts or just doesn't understand what to do with Void Rifts, do give this video to them. Alright then, as usual, I'll lay out the basics for you. 1. Get your buffs and key to unlock the boss. 2. Look at your buffs, keep what you actually need, and share the rest. 3. Make sure the wish buff is on for all of your teammates before fighting the boss. That's it! It really is that easy, but for some people it's not! Communication with strangers feels like a lost art nowadays. Now I'm gonna go explain each point. The first point, get your buffs and keys to unlock the boss. This is pretty straightforward. You just run around gathering those floating triangles to get the buff, and enemies with triangle on their head drop buffs too. Big enemies usually holds the key to the boss, so you just go around beating shit up to get the buffs and the keys. You can actually see how many buffs are left through the buff menu. It's here, right here. You can then communicate this with your teammate. 2. Look at your buffs, keep what you actually need, and share the rest. This is an important part. Very important, so I hope you're paying attention. So, unless you're a whale or a megalodon who has spent a magnanimous amount of money in Tower Fantasy, who basically has 6-star all of your SSR, don't be a snob and hog all of the buffs. The bosses are designed to be tackled with your teammates, so I repeat, don't be a snob and hog all the buffs, then go fight the boss solo just to be a stand on the floor. Look at your buffs, then look at your weapons. What do you actually need to increase your damage? What do you need to help you in your tank or support role? Once you get that answer, you will know what you need. Then what about the buffs you don't need? You can also see what buffs your teammates hold. And here comes the hard part. Ask them what they need and give them what they need. It might be hard for you to do those things, but trust me on this one. 3. Make sure the wish buff is on for all of your teammates before fighting the boss. This is one of the reasons why sharing buffs is important. Each player will need 3 of the same buffs on them. This will give the team a wish buff, which is a party-wide buff that stacks based on how many people has it. You can see the green button lit up on the player name right here. It indicates that their wish buff is on. Wish buff, if you don't know, gives you extra damage and HP. I forgot the details, but it's basically that, and it stacks with the player whose wish buff is active. See what I'm getting at here? Wish buff is quite important as it gives you extra edge against the boss. So just get the buffs that you really need. You bring flame weapon, get 3 stack of flame weapon buffs. You bring vault weapons, get 3 stack of vault weapon buffs. You're going to pull aggro, get 3 stack of aggro buffs. You're going to do support, get 3 stack of support buffs. So long as all players which buffs are on, you get 4 stack of extra damage and HP buffs. So it's really important to make sure which buff is on first before going for the next buff. That's it. This is all you need to make your Void Rift runs a bit better. Because even if you're buff up with Peace buff too, everything will boil down on how well your team coordination will be. Since even if one of your team is a megalodon, it's still gonna be hard for them to carry you. Everyone needs to play their part, and it's better to even out the buffs and activate 4 stack of wish buffs than shoving buffs to just one person and let him do the work. I have a strange premonition that someone will prove me wrong. So, to sum it up, 1. Gather buffs and boss keys. 2. Keep the buffs you really need and share the rest. 3. Make sure all the wish buff is on before fighting the boss. That's all I want to say. Hopefully this will reduce people who just hogs the buffs and leaves when they get wiped out. Okay, I've said what I want to say, so I'll leave it at that. See you next video. Bye bye.